Good morning, everyone. I am really wanting to say hi, and here's a problem that I have with the Star Wars Unlimited card game. It's not that content creators are going out there and making new decks. I have no problem with that. I know I can get on there and do the same thing. I know I can make decks that are super strong if I take time into it and play test and play test. But here's a problem I'm having, and I found this at the last two tournaments I went to. Somebody came up with Kira Green, somebody came up with Green, and I'm not saying I'm not guilty on this category either, so I'm not able to point a finger at any one person. But the problem I have with it is there's no originality. And the only reason why I did it is because there's no way for me to. And yes, I've play tested and I've changed decks a little bit from what I see online. But you go to a tournament and over 50% is Bubba Green. What's the deck list? I can pretty much tell you the deck list because all you do is you go in there and you make a deck and hope that you get a card draw. And now to be able, I'm not complaining about the fact that um, I am not complaining about the fact that um, the people are doing this. That's not my point. My point is you go to a tournament and that's all they're playing. There's no originality to it. Somebody did Kira Green, somebody does Sabine Green, somebody does Han Yellow, somebody does Fader Green, Bubba Red. I mean, every single deck that you see at tournaments are from online. And there's no originality. There's no, let's take a Hondo and see what we can do with it. Now, I get you're trying to win. But look at this right here. Set 3 is not going to be released for another 2 weeks. And you already have Dooku Blue. There was a Mando deck that I actually made and was actually pretty fun. But I can't stand up to Boba Fett Green. It can't stand up to the meta of Sabine Green. It can't stand up to the meta of Jabba Yellow. I mean, these decks are tried and true and changed in practice to be what it needs to be. You go to a tournament, you look online, it's the exact same decks. It's called netdecking. Magic did it for years. And granted, again, I'm not saying I'm not innocent. I'm not. I go out there and I've done some of these decks. I went to the last tournament with a Bubba Green, so I'm not innocent. But the reason why I did it is because I built originally at the very beginning of this set, I made a Rey Restore deck. It was fun. I played against a Jabba Yellow that was so crappy it wasn't funny. I played against a original set 1 Bubba Green. Smoked my Rey. But it was so much fun. I made a Mando deck with nothing but upgrades. It was fun. Easy to take down, and I knew it would be. But it was fun. I played a tournament at the local tournament at the store. And I went 1-3 in a 9-player tournament. And it was fun. The last 2 tournaments I did, the Showdown and a town close to me, and a tournament on Sunday that was a 20-person tournament. Half the decks was Bubba Green, and the list was exactly the same. I drew like crap. I played Bubba Green. I made a Bubba Red deck with aggro out of my own pocket. My daughter played it, who has a hard time beating me, and she smoked me with it. Original deck. But, and again, it's not that I have a problem with these content creators. That's not the point. Okay, I lost that page. But the point is, okay, yes, I watch a lot of wrestling online on YouTube. I admit it. But my point is the same. You know, when you're playing net decks, you're playing a bunch of decks that are meta and perfectly legal. The complaint is not about the legalness of it. My complaint, and I know there's not a lot of really good decks, but the online world, the social media world, which is a fabulous thing, a good way to make money, a good way to really get going, also takes out a lot of joy out of these tournaments because there's no originality. And that's the main point I'm getting to. If you're going to play Magic, and it's the same problem with Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! And all this other stuff. And again, I'm not trashing anybody that makes the decision to net deck. That's not my point, because I do it too. I'll be the first one to tell you, I do it. But the big problem I have with it is there's no originality. It makes the tournaments not fun. And I know you're out to try to win. But where's the originality? I'm going in with, like I said, I'm going in the very first week. I was going into play a tournament, and one of my friends is like, "Well, you got to practice." And he played the same decks for the same 3 or 4 decks, and he got really good with them, which is awesome. He placed really well in that tournament on Sunday. There's another guy that's been practicing with being green almost nonstop every week since he started playing. He did awesome. I mean, good for him. I mean, but it's net decked. It is not his deck. Where's the pride in your own work? And I'm guilty too. I did it in Magic when I first started. I didn't know what I was doing. I built my own decks. I got destroyed. I net decked. I did good. Excuse me. I would get first or second in these tournaments and get extra packs. And, you know, I'm excited about it. I won, you know. But set 3's not even out yet, and there's decks. And $5 that I showed you a Dooku Blue. That is going to be one of the main decks that's going to be at the tournament. Next, when the showdowns come down next set. And I love Star Wars. I think the game is fantastic. But when I'm going in there and everybody's talking about how good such and such is and how bad of a player I am, no. It's because I'm being original and trying to create my own decks. And no, I'm not practicing, and I'm not going to win any tournaments because I'm not practicing with the same deck. It's too boring to me. I will go through. And again, if you can sit there and find joy out of playing somebody else's deck, then power to you. I have. I'm not going to admit. I'm not going to say I haven't. But I do think it's a problem for Magic and all of the card games. Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Naruto, Star Wars. You find decks online, and they're not original. They're not yours. How can you claim to be good? Yeah, I've mastered somebody else's deck. Yeah, Star Wars doesn't have a big following of decks right now, and I get it. And if you really want to win tournaments, you probably have to play a Sabine Green or a Bubba Green or a Kira Green. But there's no originality. And I know it's early in the set, but you look online, those are going to be the best decks you're going to get because they're played, tried, true. I get it. How do we solve this problem? I don't have an answer. And again, I'm not bashing. I'm not saying it to complain. I am bringing it up because of the fact because of the fact that that's all we're playing. That's all these people are playing. There's no changes to them. You can't. To win tournaments, you have to almost play these decks the way they're built. Or else you do any deviation and you lose. I mean, the last couple of times I went to a tournament, I tried to make a deck my own and changed half the deck, and I got mutilated. Mutilated. Because I don't have the speed or the control or any of that other stuff. And I don't know. To me, it's more fun to just go out there and just build an original deck and just play. If somebody wants to say I'm not good, I think most of the people at our store are at a very high level and are very good. And that's awesome. Whether you net deck, whether you play your own deck that's original, that's fine. But I think the fact that we're coming on to the next set in 2 weeks, and people are already out with decks, those are going to be tournament decks. And that's the problem I have with it. I'm already seeing a tournament deck with Dooku. I showed it up there. It's going to be a tournament deck. Good or bad, it's going to be a tournament deck. So, I don't know. Give me your thoughts, your opinions on this. I'm not trying to bash. But how do we solve the problem of originality? I came up with at one point I had 12 decks of Star Wars that were no Bubbas, no Faders, no Lukes. Well, I had Lukes. I mean, I had them in there. But, I mean, I'm trying to build decks that are original. And I'm going to tournaments and I'm getting a couple wins and a couple losses. I'm winning around, I'm losing around, whatever. But it's fun. How do we keep the fun in the game when you're net decking everything? The last 2 tournaments I went to, I did Boss Blue, and which I changed some, and I shouldn't have, but I did, and I got mutilated because I changed it. If I would have kept it the way it was, I would have won. Or I would have done better. I won't say I won. But I'm trying to make it my own, at least. And it doesn't happen with anybody. So how do you solve the problem? Guys, let me know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. And again, this is not a bashing. I keep saying it, and I know it sounds like it's bashing, and I'm not. But the fun is not there. Let me know what you think. Appreciate you guys. And I love Star Wars Unlimited, so it is my game. And yes, I have a Bubba Green. I've made my own version of Sabine Green, which I haven't really played in any tournaments. I've taken apart Boss Blue, and I'm making a deck that's completely original. Probably not good, but original at least. All right, you guys take it easy, and let me know in the comments.